Hey, good morning, everyone. Happy Monday morning to you, and welcome back to Morning Musings. My name is Don K. Preston. I am the president of Preterist Research Institute of Ardmore, Oklahoma. Listen, before I get into my video this morning, I have some really exciting news. You know, we're living in an age of technology, and if I were to ask for a show of hands, how many of you have your telephone on your, on your lap, on the table, on your hip right now? 99.9% of you would raise your hands, right? Yeah, I've got mine with me at all times. By the way, I better turn this off. I better turn that off. I have some people that call me early of a morning. Anyway, so we live in an incredibly technological age, and I've been approached by any number of different people saying, Don, when are you going to get an app? And, it's one of those type of things that the very first time I was asked, when are you going to get an app for your websites? I was like, don't know. So I've been kind of slow coming into the technology age. Well, thanks to my webmaster, Alan Morton, you can now have, free of charge, an app for my websites. Now, this app will give you total access to all of the material that is on the website. The articles and connections to some videos and some audios. But it will grant you access, obviously, to the store where you can purchase books and DVDs and MP3s and what have you. Now, to download the app, go to my website, donkpreston.com, bibleprophecy.com, or eschatology.org, and just, follow the linkage there, and you'll have an app for Preterist Research Institute. Is that cool or what? So, I know that Alan just put it up. I know some people have already downloaded it. But here on Monday morning, I wanted to make that announcement to you, for you to take advantage of it. So once again, go to my website, donkpreston.com, bibleprophecy.com, or eschatology.org. There's a link right there on the front page for you to download the app, totally free of charge. I don't know how many platforms it covers, to be honest about it, but I do know it's there on some of the more popular ones. All right. Well, we are continuing, and this morning will be our next to last lesson on the Great Tribulation. In one way, this doctrine is absolutely so critical. And in the morning, I'm going to summarize why properly understanding the Great Tribulation proves that proves that the Olivet Discourse cannot be divided, and it proves a lot of other things as well. So tomorrow morning, I'm going to summarize what we have seen in our study of the Great Tribulation. For this morning, I want to demonstrate for you that the Great Tribulation was in the first century, and it was in direct connection to the judgment of Israel. In Revelation chapter 7, John said he saw 144,000, and they were members of the 12 tribes of Israel. An angel asked John, "Who are these?" And John said, "I don't know, but you do." And the angel said, "These are those who have washed their robes and made them white in the blood of the Lamb. And they come out of the Great Tribulation." So these are Jewish Christians from the 12 tribes of Israel. Now, here's what's fascinating, obviously. James, in the book of James, writes to whom? To the 12 tribes. And they were, even at that point of time, experiencing tribulation, trials, suffering, and persecution. And back to Revelation, John says they have not loved their life. They loved the Lord even to death. So here's James talking about the 12 tribes suffering in martyrdom. Here is John, pardon me, talking about the 12 tribes, the remnant of the 12 tribes, and they come out of the Great Tribulation. Now, here's the real kicker to this. In Revelation chapter 14, John once again sees the 144,000. By the way, let's not forget, this 144,000, remember now, they're martyrs. They did not love their life. So they have their robes, and their robes are white through the blood of the Lamb. Well, in Revelation chapter 6, John said he saw under the altar the souls of those who had been beheaded for the word of God and the testimony, from the Greek word martyrion, witnessing, for their witnessing for the word of God. And they cried out, "Holy, how long, O Lord, holy and true, do you not avenge us on those who dwell on the earth?" And they were given white robes and told to rest for a little while until their fellow brethren, who should be slain as they were, should be fulfilled. Well, in Revelation chapter 7, you have 144,000 and then a great multitude. You have some, and then you have more. The completion. So this imagery of martyrdom, filling up the measure of sin, filling up the measure of martyrdom, is contained in this imagery of the 144,000. Now watch. In Revelation chapter 14, John said, "I looked, and behold a lamb standing on the Mount Zion, and with him 144,000, having his Father's name written on their forehead. And I heard a voice from heaven, like the voice of many waters, and like the voice of a loud thunder. And I heard the sound of harpists playing their harps." You know, these thunders should be related to the seven thunders later. The seven thunders contain the same thing. But there's other additional information in there that we're just simply not given, except that we are given notice here that the thunders here and the thunders there contain the same imagery. Anyway, they sing as it were a new song before the throne, before the four living creatures and the elders, and no one could learn the song except 144,000 who were redeemed from the earth. These are the ones, now pay very careful attention to this, please catch the power of this. These are the ones who are not defiled with women, for they are virgins. These are the ones who follow the Lamb wherever he goes. These were redeemed from among men, being first fruits to God and to the Lamb. Did you catch the power of that? First fruit. What does first fruit mean? Well, it means exactly what it says. First of the harvest. The great number that no man can number is the rest. It's the harvest. But do you catch the power of this? The 144,000 are of the 12 tribes of Israel. The 144,000 come out of the Great Tribulation. The 144,000 are the first fruits of those redeemed to God from man. Therefore, the Great Tribulation was in the first generation of Christianity, you know, when the first fruit were gathered. Folks, you can't separate the first century generation of the first fruit of those redeemed to God from man. You cannot separate first fruit from first generation. And you cannot separate the 12 tribes and the very first Christians out of the 12 tribes from the first century generation. So if the 144,000 came out of the Great Tribulation, Revelation 7:14, and if the 144,000 were the first to be redeemed to God from man, then the Great Tribulation was in the first century generation, during the period of time of God's judgment on Old Covenant Israel. I wrote a little book entitled Blast from the Past, The Truth About Armageddon. I cover this material in this little book. It is extremely powerful. Now, for those who want to claim that the Great Generation, Tom Brokaw slipped there, that the Great Tribulation has been ongoing for 2,000 years, they have to be able to separate it from God's judgment on Old Covenant Israel. And they have to be able to prove that it extended from the first generation for 2,000 years. But first fruit means the harvest is near. The harvest has begun. And thus the Great Tribulation had to be in the first century, and the harvest had to be in the first century. How nonsensical. How nonsensical is it to say the Great Tribulation began in the first century, with the first fruits, those who were the first to be redeemed to God from man, but the harvest hasn't happened? No. That violates the imagery. Go to my website, donkpreston.com, BibleProphecy.com, and order the book, Blast from the Past. You'll be absolutely stunned by how clear the evidence really is. Listen, thank you so much for joining me for this morning's morning musings. In tomorrow's video, I'm going to summarize again several of the points that we have seen in this study about the Great Tribulation to drive home the point that the Olivet Discourse cannot be divided, that the Olivet Discourse is about the first century generation events. I'll see you on the flip side.